Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Trustee Tutor. To start off with today's video, there's a question I'd like you to think about. Who do you think is the most recent self-made billionaire? Well, while Warren Buffett took 55 years to become a billionaire, Jay Walker did it in less than a year. During the dot-com bubble, he launched Priceline.com, and his net worth skyrocketed from zero to billions. But that wasn't sustainable, because when the bubble burst, his net worth plummeted, whereas Buffett remains at the top of the list and doesn't appear to be going anywhere anytime soon. And that is the type of wealth you want to create. Money is a tough, competitive, and ruthless game, and if you don't know the rules, you're doomed to fail. Most people's problem is that they may work hard their entire lives but end up poor at the end of the journey, because they don't understand how the game works. So, if you want to be on the other side of the coin, you'd better learn the rules. First and foremost, money really does grow on trees. But before we dive into that, here at Trustee Tutor, you'll get to know about the trends, principles of money making, history, recent news, and tips in navigating the world of finance. If you're into that, kindly give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also, hit the notification bell so that whenever we upload a new video online, you will be the first to know about it. I'm sure many of you have been taught the opposite, but the reality is that if you don't operate from this perspective, you'll be poor for the rest of your life. You can't trade your time for money for the rest of your life, which is why you should plant trees that will earn you money even when you're not there. It's not as simple as it appears. Do you know how difficult it is to plant a tree? First, you must plant the seed, but the seed is useless unless it is planted in nutrient-rich soil. The tree will not grow on its own. You'll need to water and care for it, and it will not grow overnight. Some trees can literally grow for 10 to 20 years, or even produce fruit with minimal effort. The same is true for assets. Once you build a business, or save enough money to make a good investment, it continues to generate income even when you are not present. Because you might get old, sick, and unable to keep your job. So even if you make $500 an hour, you could become impoverished overnight if you haven't planted enough trees in your garden. I remember when I was living paycheck to paycheck and had an extremely tight budget. I used to think that if I made even slightly more than I do now, I would start investing. But that never happened. In fact, when I began earning multiple times more, all that happened was that my expenses continued to rise. If you do not budget and discipline yourself to stick to a budget, you'll not be able to save money to invest. Even if you make $100,000 a month, there are infinite ways to spend that $100,000. So, instead of constantly increasing your investment line, discipline yourself to stick to a smaller budget. If Elon Musk can live on $1 a day in the United States, you can certainly live on a few $100s. Don't get me wrong, enjoy the money you earn through hard work, travel, or do whatever you want, but stick to a budget that's less than your income because you need to accumulate assets. When I started getting serious about money and investing, I've always imagined that when I start making a lot, I won't have to stick to a strict budget, and I'll be able to retire and enjoy the fruits of my labor. But once I started making that much, I realized it wasn't enough and that I needed to make more. In fact, if you stop managing it, it will cease to generate revenue. You'll not find tenants just because you bought a house. If you don't take care of it, it could become a liability. The concept of creating an asset and then doing nothing is absurd. Even if you build a successful business, you will face competitors who will try to undermine you on a daily basis. So forget about retiring one day. You can automate some of your duties and reduce your working hours, but in general, this game will continue as long as you live. A clear example is the world's wealthiest people, who work even when they don't have to. The following rule is most likely the most important lesson in this video. We all have insecurities, and we frequently buy that expensive car, move to a larger house, or buy a newer phone in order to be accepted or admired by society. That expensive car will make you feel good for a week or two, but your insecurity will not go away. So you'll want a better and more expensive car. It's a never-ending cycle that keeps wealthy people in power. If you want acceptance, learn how to better manage yourself. Your insecurities will drain your bank account, but they'll still be there. Instead, work on improving your social skills and learning how to boost your confidence. I'm not suggesting you not to buy an expensive car or private jet. Buy whatever you want, but don't do it to compensate for your insecurity. There are better and less expensive ways to accomplish this. We enjoy boasting about how much money we make. At the end of the day, in the age of capitalism, that's what defines your social status, or so most people believe. But the problem is that money is like a magnet, drawing people in. People will suddenly be nice to you, and everyone will want a piece of it. Of course, it will make you feel good and respected, but at a cost that is not worth it. If they can't get it nicely, they'll sue you and get it the hard way. That is the reality in which we live. Even if you make $1 million a year, don't tell anyone. Continue to make more while remaining humble, not bragging about it. When the economy crashed in 2008, the unemployment rate skyrocketed because businesses were unable to pay their bills. Millions of people became unemployed, homeless, or poor. However, because the greatest transfers of wealth occurred during crises, some people aggressively began investing and became much wealthier after the crises. You can become an overnight success if you are willing to seize the opportunity. Remember Jay Walker from the beginning of the video, who became a billionaire in less than a year by capitalizing on the dot-com bubble? Despite the fact that his wealth was not sustainable, he was able to keep hundreds of millions of dollars. Another example is Mark Cuban, who once said, "You were lucky to become a billionaire because if it hadn't been for the 1998 financial crisis, he wouldn't be a billionaire." Instead of viewing financial crises as a ploy concocted by the government or the 1% to exploit the poor, take advantage of them as they do, understand how the system works. Research previous crises to learn how and why they occur, and be prepared to be on the receiving end when the next one occurs. Have you ever noticed that every year you spend more and more money? When you were a teen, $100 was a lot of money. Now, it barely covers your gas bill. And as you get older, your expenses will only rise. That's the way our lives are, especially when you start a family. Most people do not worry about the future because they're making a good living now, but when their expenses exceed their income, they begin to complain that they do not have enough money to invest. So if you do not ensure that your income grows every year, you will soon find yourself trapped in a paycheck-to-paycheck cycle that will keep you poor for the rest of your life. That is why you must take the following rule very seriously. You can't grow wealth overnight, just like you can't grow a tree. Remember, the earlier you invest, the better. With the power of compounding, you can become wealthy with as little as $100. It's no surprise that the world's greatest investor began investing at the age of 11. What were you doing when you were 11? Here's a fun fact. You can make your grandchild a millionaire by investing $1,160, which is the cost of a new smartphone, because it will grow to over $1 million in 100 years without any additional investment. You won't live that long, but I'm sure your grandchild will be grateful. If he's not greedy and keeps it for his grandson for another 100 years, it will grow to almost $1 billion. Of course, waiting so long is pointless, but the sooner you begin, the sooner you'll be able to earn enough money to no longer be concerned about your bills. Warren Buffett made his first billion in 55 years and his second billion in just 3 years. In fact, he made 98% of his fortune after turning 55. And that's it for this video. If you have any questions, personal experiences, or suggestions regarding this video, let us know in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that whenever we upload a new video online, you will be the first to know about it. Keep updated and work smart. Till soon.